Hey crafters, so tonight I want to talk to you about a pretty neat topic. It is extending your stamp collection without spending a dime. I'm going to see if this works for you guys like it does for me. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use our stamps for something they're not supposed to be used for, so we can kind of get more out of our stamp collection than just what we see on the surface or on face value. The way we're going to do it is shown in this card that I made. In this little card, I used a stamp that will surprise you and a stamp that will surprise you for these little elements, and I just want to show you how we do that. So let's get started. First things first, you want to find some stamps that you got in your collection that have some neat textures or neat backgrounds, or that could create a neat background. Let me take this out so you can actually see it. Like, this is a good example, this one especially here. When you have a small element that you want to put some texture on, and it fits inside of a stamp like this that has all this texture to it, this is a great way to extend, to turn your stamp into something else, to create backgrounds. So let me show you what I did tonight with this little card. First things first, I want to put together that flower. And as cute as this is, just stacked up like this, you know, here's one and then here's one on top of it. And that is really cute. It's much cuter when you see the texture on the flower. Let me bring you down so you can see that. So you can see that texture that this one has, and it looks like a sunflower, and it just really jazzes this up. So let me show you what I did. First thing I did, really simple, and everybody can do this. I used some desert sand from Close to My Heart and a sponge. The first thing for texture, which pretty much everybody knows how to do, you know, sponging. So I just took a big old sponge that I had in my craft room when I needed something to sponge with. And I just sponged this little guy. That's the first little bit of texture. But the second thing I did was I wanted to create some texture on this little guy. So this is a piece of something I cut and didn't use, and it's kind of going to be a scrap. So I'm going to set this little circle on top of this to be a scrap for me. Now, I took this flower stamp from that collection that I just showed you, and it has that little waffle weave background. Now it's bigger, you can see that that stamp is bigger than the element that I'm going to stamp. So see, that's going to work. It's going to give me a good background, and I'm going to be using a stamp that really should be used for something else. So check this out. I'm going to ink it up with that desert sand ink. Now, something about texture background stamps, you want to pick it up and look and make sure you have ink on the whole thing, because you can get a bare spot on a stamp that takes up a lot of surface like this. Then you're just going to go to your little element, stamp it really good, and usually that little item is going to stick. This one didn't, but a lot of times it will stick. But look at that. Now we have texture on that, and it looks kind of like waffle weave, and we used a stamp that you might not normally think to use. So there's that element. You can see, when we add this together, we get a really cute texture. All right, now then, on this card, you notice that there's a vase, and the vase has some texture to it too, or has a pattern to it. So here's what I did. Same idea, take this little piece, lay it down, and this time I'm using, and this might surprise you, and I'm gonna see if you can see it good, but this time I'm using a Christmas tree. Can you see that? It's a Christmas tree, and it has a lot of little polka dots, like bubbles on it. That's what it looks like. And when I stamp it, you'll really be able to see it. So I'm gonna ink it up really well. Again, this one has a lot of surface area. Bring it over to my works area where that vase is. Using this Fiskars stamp press helps too. Press this down. Now when I pick up, you'll be able to see the entire stamp. And my piece actually stuck this time, so let me get it off with my tweezers. I'm gonna put it back there. So now you can see it's the whole Christmas tree, but when I take it away, my element has the stamp. It's really a simple idea. You've probably done it before, but I thought I would remind you of a way to extend your stamps to make them go a little further. And now, let's assemble a card together. This card goes together pretty simple. I just have a piece of cardstock here, and it is cut 8.5 by 5.5, so a standard A2 card. And using the Art Philosophy cartridge, I cut out this leaf element, which I think is so pretty, and it really takes up a lot of room on the page, so I think it looks really nice. And what I'm going to do first is I cut just a piece of coordinating paper that I just want to put in this area here. So let's adhere that down. And just kind of eyeball where we want it. That looks good. Now it's a little bit long on one end, so I'm going to trim it. There we go. And now I'm going to adhere the leaf element down. I'm going to use some liquid glass tonight. It seems to work really, really well for cards. I mean, you don't need a whole lot of this. I heard somebody say this week, I think this is a good tip. You know, how many glue dots would you put down on here? So I'm just kind of treating this like glue dots and just kind of dotting it in places. Okay. Now we're just going to turn this over. I'm going to adhere it down to where it takes up that portion of the paper at the top. And then I'm going to trim this away, that bottom edge. We don't really need it. I don't think I got glue on that one. Okay, and now before I go too far, I'm going to stamp. And this is another cool thing to do. This is a craft colored cardstock, and this ink is virtually the same, but I'm going to use it because it just kind of gives a nice subtle stamp effect. And that says, "You make me smile." It's really cute in person. It's harder to see on video because it's, you know, tone on tone, but it's really pretty. Okay, now we want to bring our vase over. Now, what I thought was really cute about this vase was to kind of pop it up on dimensionals. So I'm going to just pop that up a little bit. And I'm just using some sticky doos that I pick up at Hobby Lobby. Put our little vase down. And then I'm going to bring over the flowers that we made. Aren't those just the cutest thing? I just think they're so precious. We're just going to adhere those down again with some liquid glass. They have some dimension on them because if I hold it to the side, you can see that I popped that up. I popped that middle piece up. And then we'll just fold it. And on the final card, I took my big marker and I just did some little leaf lines to kind of dress that up. So that's a great way to use your stamps for something they're not really, you know, supposed to be used for. Just picking up stamps, just like this one that I had, that is the flower shape that you can see there, the flower shape, and using it to get that texture in the middle, and using the Christmas tree to get the texture on this vase. It's just a way to extend your stamp set and not spend any money. So have fun picking out some great stamps in your collection that have some great backgrounds or some great textures, and see what all you can do with it. Thanks for joining me. See you again next time. Bye-bye.